Why is it that Africa playing their trade on African soil have never won African best player? Those playing for Orlando Pirates now and Mamelodi Sundowns, lovely players that can as well win this African best. But you are looking down on them.
I think personally that CAF should review the CAF Player of the Year award criteria.
Yeah, welcome back to EVO SPORTS. Why is it that Africa playing their trade on African soil have never won African best player of the year? No, I know the last time a player like that won was in the 80s, late 80s, was Thomas Nkono. But since then, no African player playing his trade on African soil has ever won that award. Why is it like that? Is it that CAF don't know what they are doing, or what parameters are they using to pick this African best?
Okay, thank you. I think the yardstick for winning the African best diadem has to do with some factors. First, we spoke about Thomas Nkono, but if you check it very well, 1997 at this player, Algerian player playing for Coventry City, Mustafa Hadji won it.
But he wasn't playing in Africa then. Was he playing in Africa?
No, he wasn't playing in Africa. I said Mustafa Hadji won it and he was playing for Coventry. So if you look at the statistics over the years, spanning over 30, 40 years, these players winning African best are always players that play their trade abroad. And I don't know why they are looking low on players playing in Africa. So I feel CAF should look inwardly and ensure they look for another kind of medium. Though we have the Africa Interclub Player of the Year, in which Fisty Mayele of Marumu Black just won. Yeah. And don't forget the fact that in 2008, when Emmanuel Adebayo won African Best, Mohamed Abutrika was the most outstanding player in the Africa.
He was supposed to have won that
bet because Adebayo was playing in Europe. You understand? From Arsenal to Real Madrid. You understand? So he was given that award. Then Mohamed Abutrika won the BBC Player of the Year in 2008. And won the Africa Club Interplayer of the Year 2006, 2008, 2012, and 2013. So if we look at it very well, if we want to juxtapose the African Best and the BBC Award, BBC African Player of the Year Award,
which Okocha
won, and the Africa Interclub Player of the Year Award, you see that the CAF award is more bigger. So I'm supposing that the CAF should bring up a kind of an award that is at, you understand, at the same level with the CAF Player Award
for those African players
on African soil. Because if players playing in African soil are doing tremendously well, I don't see, in a given season, just like Mohamed Abutrika in 2008, I don't think any player performed by statistics, by his goals, achievement in Al Ali, and achievement in the Egyptian colors, in Egyptian national team, because they won the African Nations Cup back-to-back that year. He was supposed to merit it, but because Adebayo was playing abroad, Adebayo was given.
He was playing for Arsenal.
He was playing for Arsenal. He was given the award, the CAF award back then. So, but I think CAF should check and see if. Because first we need to know the criteria, the yardstick in which the Africa award is being given to a particular player. Now, I know that there are voting processes in which the coach, captains of sides, and some journalists do. But far from that, I think CAF should look inwardly. Now, what in a given year, this is a Nations Cup year. In the next 17 days, the Nations Cup will start. What about a player that performed distinctively well in the Nations Cup, went ahead to win the Nations Cup, and in his Africa, and maybe in his club in Africa, in CAF Champions League, his club is doing well, and his national team, the guy is doing well. Now you now end up giving the African best to a player that is playing abroad, that perhaps did not win the league, or maybe just won FA Cup and score a lot of goals.
So I think might not even win anything.
So I don't think that thing is balanced. So I think personally that CAF should review the CAF Player of the Year award criteria. They should review it, be the voting process, be it whatsoever way they are using, because we've seen a lot of lacuna in this thing which do not suit very well to the football-loving Africans.
I look at it as They have not really done well because I remember in the late 60s, the first African Footballer of the Year, that the person that won the first African Footballer of the Year is a Malian, Salif Keita. And I believe he was playing for a Malian club there. I think maybe something Bamako or State Malian, you know. But since after that period, though quite some African people then have in the 70s, I'm talking about in the 70s, Thomas Nkono, Adeo Rejamila, and some of that.
Thomas Nkono was 80s.
Was in the 80s. I'm just mentioning, I'm just judging from that 69 till the 80s. Some Africans have really won it. But I believe then they were playing for African team here in Africa. But after that period, this trophy has been given to players plying their trade in Europe. And even when African players are players on African soil, even perform more or better than them compared or in a season, they still give this trophy to African to those playing in Europe. You made mention of Abdul Trika and Emmanuel Adebayo. In that season, Abdul Trika was supposed to have won that trophy.
Yes, so I believe too.
Everybody believed it. But it was given to Emmanuel Adebayo. They created another portfolio for Abdul Trika. But do you think that CAF should, if CAF creates another portfolio for that, don't you think is an insult to the African football generally? Because in Europe, anybody that plays outside Europe does not win European Football of the Year.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
If you play in the Brazilian league, play in Asian league, play in whatsoever, you can never win the European best. So anybody that wins it plays for Europe. So what CAF is supposed to have done is anybody that wins that CAF Football of the Year should be players playing in Africa. So what do you think?
Yes, there are so many ways we can think this narrative from. We can draw, we can draw the line from different perspectives. Now, you did mention of
Salif
Keita,
the Malian.
Now, all this period, all this period, 69, 70s, even till mid 80s and late 80s, African players were showing what they have in African soil. And all this while they are showing what they have in African soil, the football administrative network in Africa
wasn't as corrupt as this.
Yeah, it wasn't as corrupt as this. And they around these players as legend, classy players in their own different style and in their own different way of performance. From Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, name them, Mali, name Senegal, name them. But now the narrative has changed because of the exports of African players abroad. Now, one of the things, again, I undermine in this regard is owing to the fact that I think we're actually plunging down on our skin color. Now, because I don't see a reason why a player playing abroad did not perform well in a particular season. Perhaps I see maintain that sometimes the person may just win a Carling Cup in England or French Ligue 1 or maybe the Bundesliga. Now, a player playing his trade abroad in Africa, win a Nations Cup, perform very well.
Even the Champions League.
How about this Zambian player?
Matongo, the guy I want to mention his name.
Katongo, yes,
he won the Nations
Cup, yes.
As the Zambian captain.
Zambian captain.
I think he's a soldier.
He's a soldier. Now, look at it. You see, when you give the CAF Player of the Year to players only playing abroad, undermining the value of those playing
in
here,
Africa,
regardless of their performance in a particular season, you plunge down the skin color of Africa. You plunge down the league, the African League. You understand? Because we have the CAF Champions League, we have the CAF Confederation Cup. In Europe, they have the CAF, the European Champions League, the Conference League, and the Europa League. So you look at them based on their performances per match. You look at the league, their performances per match, and you collate them. I believe they should collate them. But if you go by voting, see, there will be politicking in the voting. So I think they should reorganize or review this system. Are you getting in? Where goal scoring performance, your team average, your how do you go assist? Okay. If you want to give a goalkeeper, how many saves?
Just generalize your statistics.
Let's know your statistics.
If your statistics is healthy,
yes.
You can win it.
Don't just wake up one day and say a player voted, coach voted. No, to me, it do not go well with me. You understand? Because players play in African soil, they are giving their very best. And trust me, for you to play in African League and survive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, you are a hero.
Yes.
You understand? Looking at the nature of the league, how competitive, how combative the league is, and all of that, it's quite different from Europe. Europe, you can just run, do 1 or 2 skills, you score your goal. But Africa is not like that. Africa
difficult.
is toe to toe, tit for tat,
It's very
an eye for an eye.
It's very difficult to see somebody winning 5-0.
It's very
in
difficult.
African
It's very difficult. So look at the Tanzanian league. About 14 from Tanzania representing their country in Confederations Cup and Champions League. Look at the South African side.
Congo too.
Look how developed the South African league is. Look at other countries. Look at the Morocco. Look at Egypt. Look at Algeria. Look at Tunisia.
Even Sudan.
Even Sudan, thank you. So they have been playing and putting more effort to ensure that they win this individual accolade, but they are always been eluded from this accolade. I don't think it's right. CAF should review it. CAF should actually review it or make us understand the yardstick. Don't tell me one coach will vote, one captain will vote.
They might be biased.
They not might. They will be biased. They will be biased. Are you getting it? So I think there should be a review. Now, if Mohamed Abu Trika in his prime, we won the BBC Player of the Year in 2008.
Yes.
Don't forget in 2628.
It was Okocha.
In 2324 Okocha. But in 2324, he won the CAF Interclub Player of the Year, and he won it 2016-2018. For a player to be consistent for about 6 seasons, so he merited the CAF Player of the Year, but because they are undermining the fact that he plays or plays football in African soil, so I don't think it's right in any way you want to check it, footballing wise.
I think anyway, I would want Africa. I want CAF to introduce in a different portfolio for trophy, like for award like that, because if you want to give those playing in Europe CAF African Footballer of the Year, you target that African Footballers of the Year based in Europe and give them their trophy. Then African Footballer of the Year based in Africa and give them that trophy. You can't say African Footballer of the Year. Then you give the trophy to someone that applies his trade in Europe.
Yes.
I'm looking at them, they are sabotaging African football because if you're not sabotaging Africa, why are you so much interested in those playing in Europe? That means you believe that the European football is higher than Africa.
Yes.
That's just the way I look at it. But I will urge CAF, if they can do it, it's just my own opinion, if they can provide a portfolio for those playing on African soil, just to boost our own African football, because by not giving them this trophy, you are weakening or you are reducing the players playing in Africa. That's why it's in most African players who want to play their trade in Europe. Whereas there are those that have still plays in Africa and they've played in Africa and are retired. Like Mohamed Abu Trika that we mentioned. Even something Gano that plays for Egypt. He was playing for Zamalek too. The Zamalek player. They plied all their trades here in Africa. They retired in Africa and they made their own money here in Africa. Just like those playing for Orlando Pirates now and Mamelodi Sundowns. Lovely players that can as well win this African best. But you are looking down on them, giving the award to those that are based in Europe. But it's too disappointing. I don't know why CAF is doing that. The criteria, the format they are using, I don't know. But I just believe that CAF should do the needful and at least give the award to African players playing their trade here in Africa.
Another thing again, to me, I think CAF is playing second fiddle.
Okay.
You don't emulate the Europeans in everything they do.
Okay.
We know that we are Africans. We should create our own African thing. Are you getting it? So few Brazilians play in the South African League.
Yes.
Right? Okay, now, if a Brazilian play in the South African League, I don't think they are going to give any of them Brazilian Player of the Year.
No, they can't. Irrespective of it, that is a Brazilian.
It's a Brazilian, they won't. So every European player playing in European League comes to Africa. Even Jude Bellingham, whoever of them come to Africa to play, he can never win the best player. Even Vinicius, he can't win FIFA Player of the Year or Ballon d'Or. Even Mbappe,
European Player
of the Year, you can't win it. But why is it that anything that has to do with Africa, we want to emulate the Western world and we emulate them in the wrong way? Are you getting it? Not giving a player playing in African soil the CAF Player of the Year is undermining our league. So I challenge CAF in any way in comparison to that African player given only to people playing abroad. Let me just mention something. If you look, the South African League, if a stadium is 35,000 capacity, the stadium are always full to the brim. The players giving their 100% best. The Bafana side has 95% or 97% of their players playing in South African league.
Yes.
And they play enterprising kind of football. Are you getting it? Look at the Moroccan side.
The
Egyptian side. Look at the Algerian side and all of that. The Sudanese side as well. They are playing enterprising football. So the CAF should stop giving, even when a player do not want it playing abroad. Because he's playing abroad, you give him the African best, even when he do not deserve it on a particular season. So I think they should review it. I shouldn't say they will scrap it. Let them review it, or let them know, football-loving Africans to know what are the criteria that are used to give a player the best player in Africa, the CAF award. What are the criteria? Hakimi is the current holder now. Yes, in Europe. He has been consistent, but for this season that he's given the diadem, he won the Champions League, he won the French League.
But that was in Europe.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm counting.
It was in Europe.
Champions League, the French League one, and all of that. He won all of them in both in national in the French League and in the CAF European Champions League. He won it. He only lost in the World Club Cup. Well merited, his performance and all of that. That is well merited. If you look at his performance abroad, as an African player applying his trade abroad. Yes. So how about the players playing here?
In Africa.
So if you give Fisty Mayele African Interclub Player of the Year, what is African Interclub Player of the Year? So for a player that is playing for Marumo Gallants, a team that is not well known, except you are a real football follower, that is not well known among the football elites, followers in Africa, a player like that giving African Interclub Player of the Year.
So does it play for Marumo Gallants or be Pyramid?
Is it Pyramid?
I think Pyramid.
Pyramid. Okay. Yes, okay, Pyramid. Now, that is to say, that guy performed exceptionally well. So why don't you understand? I wouldn't say they should give him, because the person actually looking at the parameters, comparing these players, Osimhen, Hakimi, and Salah.
But Mayele won the CAF Champions League.
That's what I'm saying.
The CAF Champions League.
That's what I'm saying. He won the CAF Champions League,
Yes.
and he was given the African Interclub Player of the Year. Why do you give him African Interclub Player of the Year and now give somebody that is playing abroad
in Europe
the CAF Player of the Year? Owing to the fact that it's an African player, no problem. It's an African player, but let them create another CAF award that is at the same level with those players playing abroad, with the same value, with the same monetary value, with the same prestige that plays abroad and the ones that play in Africa, so that we know that it's another way to encourage African football, knowing fully well that if you put in your 100%, you can actually achieve this feat. You understand? It's
so annoying.
It's so annoying.
Look at somebody like Mane winning a CAF Champions League. You are giving him an African
Interclub Player of the Year.
That's an insult.
It is.
It's an insult. Because the value of the trophy given to him is not the same thing with the one given to Hakimi. So the CAF and CAF organizers of this award should find a way to balance this book and make sure that they give each trophy. Either they want to provide African players playing in Europe, our best player, or African players playing on African soil, best player. But if they want to do it that way, they should make sure that the two awards are equal, both in value and in monetary value. Thank you and thank you.